In Chapter 10, we talk about different job opportunities within FCS that focus on being educators or being teachers. And there's lots of different ways that we can work as a teacher within the family science, consumer science field. So, again, one of the main missions, the priorities of the AAFCS is to not only learn these skills, the things that will help us with our own families, but also to then share our knowledge with those around us. So AAFCS has a big emphasis on sharing the knowledge, and so that's why the lamp is their symbol. They want to spread their light and their information that they have with those around them to help make the community stronger. So education is a big, big part of what family and consumer science professionals would be doing in helping to share that knowledge that we have. One of the main focuses of that is empowering people to be able to learn skills for themselves. So really that sharing that information is going to help that family be able to be stronger and to do things for themselves. So rather than just doing something for a family, we're going to teach them how to do that for themselves. And that's where those basic life skills come into play and why there's so much focus on teaching those basic life skills to help strengthen families and communities. So there's a few different fields of careers that we're going to go into within the education aspect of FCS. So obviously there's public and private schools, but then there's also some adult education, corporate things that we'll go into as well. So first off, we'll talk about being a teacher in mostly middle school or high school is where you're going to find it as far as the public school goes. There's not as much of the life skills type of classes in elementary school, although you might find that more under the counseling or something like that. But when we get into middle school and high school, most states do require students to take some type of life skills class, sort of like a home ec type of class. It's usually not called that anymore, but there are within the FCS umbrella, they will offer interior design classes. Sometimes they'll offer culinary type of classes, cooking classes. There'll be child development classes offered, family relations, basic communication classes. A lot of those could fall under the umbrella of the family and consumer sciences, especially as we get into the high school level. Most states will require students to have at least some type of classes within the FCS umbrella. So if you were to want to go into this field as a family science major, you would need to learn the specialty, whatever it is that you're wanting to go into teaching. So a lot of times that'll be pretty broad. You might have to learn kind of a little bit of everything to be able to teach that at a high school level. Sometimes those classes are pretty broad. If you're looking at a life skills class, they might go into a whole bunch of different topics within FCS. But then you're also going to need to get a teaching certification within your state. So you would want to look at what state you're going to be wanting to teach in and then see what their requirements are to be able to be a high school or middle school teacher. So just having a bachelor's degree in a family science type of field is what you need to get your knowledge for being able to teach those things. But then you also need, on top of that, to get the teaching certification. So if you're wanting to teach at the high school level or the middle school level, anywhere in a public school setting, be sure that you research what's required by your state to be able to teach in the public school system. Most of the time, you're going to need that teaching certification from your state. So be sure to do some research on that. Then we've got college, university teaching. A lot of the teaching jobs that you'll find are going to require a doctoral degree, a PhD. So most of the professors that you're going to have and the people that are more of the full-time doing the research, they're on the faculty, those type of college professors are usually going to have a PhD. You can teach at the college university level with a master's degree, and those are going to be more of like your part-time teachers. Maybe they're just teaching one or two classes and they're not really full-time on the faculty. Maybe they're a guest lecturer or something like that. So you definitely can teach at the university or college level with a master's degree. but it's just not as stable maybe as the ones that do have a PhD. So that's definitely something to think about if you're looking into the higher level of teaching. Community colleges do hire a lot of master's degree. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're going to want to at least go to grad school and get your master's and then figure out kind of where you're wanting to teach and how much more school you're interested in. But if you have a PhD, you definitely can be very successful and have a good teaching career at a university level. Okay, then we've got adult education. A lot of times, like your local government, maybe your city or your county or something like that, will have adult education programs. They might be offered through a community center or a library or something like that. It could even be something like a GED program that's offered at the community level. So all of those types of community programs are going to need teachers. And so if there's, say, a hospital that's wanting to teach nutrition classes because maybe there's a need and maybe they're having a lot of people coming in with diabetes or other things that are involved with nutrition. So the hospital wants to hire a nutrition educator to be able to teach the clients about nutrition. That would be something that would fall under this FCS umbrella because that's one of our fields is nutrition. So there's a lot that could go into adult education. You just need to study whatever your specialty is, and then be able to be qualified to teach in those type of community settings. Then we've got our co-op or county extension offices. So I mentioned before in one of the early chapters that one of the things that falls under FCS is these county extension offices. So a lot of times those are more agriculture, like they'll come, someone will teach a class about gardening or something like that. But they actually do also have parenting classes and family relations classes and things like that. So it is more broad than just what you might think of from the county extension when it's agriculture. And if you look at your whatever county you live in, if you kind of just Google your county extension website, you can see all the different departments that fall under that. And they also need educators to go out into the community and to teach classes and to help people with the different needs that they have in their county based on whatever programs they're going to be offering. So just do a little research within your county extension office and see what they have to offer. Then we have corporate training. So a lot of times businesses will hire someone to come in and teach their employees about something. So if you've ever worked in a full-time office type of job, there'll be a lot of times that you'll need to go to some type of training meeting. So one thing I can think of as a good example is maybe they want to teach their employees about effective communication skills. Okay, well, that's definitely something that falls under family relationships, family and consumer sciences. You'll take a lot of classes that deal with this communication. So the company would hire an adult educator, a corporate trainer to come in and teach this class to their employees about communication skills. So that would be something that you could be qualified to do based on what specialty you decide to go into. A lot of companies also are starting to go more towards having maybe they have an on-site child care center, maybe they have an on-site fitness center, things like that. Some of the bigger companies will offer these perks for their employees, and they need people to oversee those types of things. So that would be something that would fall under family and consumer sciences. So lots of different corporate training opportunities as well. So that's it for chapter 10 as far as opportunities within education. Again, we just want to get this knowledge not just to have it, but also to share it and to help improve lives for others around us.